Waterfront is one of the fastest way buyers lose objectivity. Not because it's bad, because it compresses the decision. You walk into a unit, you see the water, and within seconds, your brain starts solving for how do I make this work instead of should this actually be my decision? And the shift is where mistakes happen. Because Waterfront doesn't just add value. It changes the entire structure of the decision, how the property behaves, how costs evolve over time, how you experience the space daily, and how the property performs long term. So today, we're breaking everything down and help you understand what you're actually choosing when you go waterfront in Tampa Bay. Because if you don't understand the trade-offs, you're not making a premium decision. You're making an emotional one. Buyers think waterfront is a visual upgrade, and it's really not.
You expect calm, open views and peaceful environments, but you actually get exposure, movement, and variability. Because water changes conditions constantly, not dramatically, but continuously.
That's right, David. At elevation, near open water, wind is not occasional. It's structural, and it affects balcony, usability, outdoor furniture, and how often you actually sit outside. A balcony that sells the unit can become something you use far less than expected once you move in. Water reflects light, and light increases brightness, glare, and heat load into the unit.
And on top of that, Monica, let's not forget southwest facing units, especially in Tampa Bay, can feel significantly different by 3 to 6 p.m. And this impacts comfort, energy usage, and how often blinds are closed. So the best view on paper may not be the most livable unit long term.
Oh, and David, we both know that salt and moisture never show up in a showing.
Right.
But it shows up over time on faster wear on exterior materials, more frequent maintenance cycles, and long-term building cost implications. And in a condo, that doesn't hit you directly at first. It shows up through HOA adjustments, reserve changes, and long-term capital projects.
Exactly. And none of these are reasons to avoid waterfronts, but they are reasons to understand what you're buying beyond the view. Because the mistake is thinking, I love the view, so everything else will work. And that's not how these properties behave.
Exactly. We see this all the time. During a showing, everything feels controlled. But when you slow down and actually observe how the wind moves, how the sun hits the unit, and how the outdoor space feels after a few minutes, then you start to realize the environment is doing more than just creating a view. It's shaping how you use the space. And we had buyers who initially loved everything. They came back a second time at a different time of the day. And guess what? They saw it completely differently. And that second look usually changed their decision.
And then we have insurance. This is where most buyers are completely blind and rarely understand. They are looking at current numbers in the system that is actively adjusting.
So true, David. Waterfront properties in Florida are not priced statically. They are priced within a moving cost structure that includes insurance, market shifts, building exposure, classification, and reserve requirements tightening. And newer buildings like Marina Pointe or a lot of newly constructed ones have not fully stabilized yet. So what you're seeing today is early stage cost structure, not long-term behavior. And this means you are not buying today's HOA and today's insurance environment. You are buying into how these numbers will evolve over time.
And here's the mistake a lot of buyers say, if I can afford it now, I'm fine. But long-term ownership isn't decided at purchase. It's decided at year 2, 3, 5 years when costs adjust. Even if the building is well managed, reserves are strong, and construction is solid, you are still exposed to market-wide insurance changes, regulatory shifts, and environmental risk pricing.
So the real question becomes not, can I afford this, but can I absorb change into this cost structure? And that's a completely different decision. Most buyers don't ask this question. They look at monthly numbers and anchor to it. And what we've seen is that buyers who feel pressure later are not the ones who bought the wrong property. They're the ones who didn't expect movement. The buyers who do well long term are the ones who said, even if this shifts, I'm still comfortable.
Waterfront doesn't just behave differently. Physically, it behaves differently in the market because demand is not purely logical. It's emotional.
Oh, and in strong markets, buyers stretch for lifestyle. Waterfront becomes a priority, a premium, and pricing accelerates faster.
In slower markets, buyers pull back to practicality, discretionary purchases shrink, and waterfront demand softens. And that creates a stronger upside, but also more sensitivity.
Absolutely. This is not risk in the traditional sense. It's variability. And if you don't understand it, you misread timing, negotiation leverage, and exit strategy. If you're buying waterfront, you should not be thinking, this is the best property. You should be thinking, this is the right property for how I want to live, and I understand how it behaves. That's a controlled decision. Okay. So this isn't about whether waterfront is worth it.
It's about whether you understand what comes with it.
Exactly, because the upside is real.
But so are the trade-offs.
And most people only see one side when they're standing inside the unit.
Until they live there.
Waterfront is one of the clearest examples of where buyers confuse what feels right with what actually fits. Because what you're choosing here is not just a property or a view. You're choosing an environment that will show up in your every single day. And if that environment aligns with how you live, it's a phenomenal decision. If it doesn't, it becomes friction over time. So if you're seriously considering waterfront condos,
and you want to understand how these trade-offs apply to your situation,
reach out. We'll walk through it with you based on how you actually live, not just what you're seeing, because Florida living isn't measured in distance.
it's measured in daily friction.
We'll see you next week.